Hello everyone and welcome to Daily Newspaper Analysis, which is brought to you by LawSikho. So today we will discuss the important articles for 21st August, that was Saturday, and 23rd August, which is today. So the articles that we'll be taking from today's newspaper are, firstly, from The Hindu, which is titled as Breaking the Logjam, Handing Over the Baton. So this article basically talks about the problem of a judiciary, wherein we have the problem of appointments, as in like why there is lethargy in the appointments in the judiciary. The second article is from the Indian Express, which is titled as Undoing Judicial Feudalism. So this again talks about the problem of judiciary or the feudalism that is existent in the Indian judiciary and how can we free it up from these chains. The article that we'll be picking up from 21st discussion is regarding the lawmakers and disorder, which is titled from the Indian Express newspaper. So this again, so all the articles in a way talk about the judiciary in the country. This newspaper analysis is presented by me. My name is Sheba Khan. I am a law graduate and had completed my law degree in the year 2019 from Uttaranchal University. I have been a national debater as well as a public speaker. And here at LawSikho, I'm working as the manager for current affairs vertical. If you wish to connect with me, you can find me on my Twitter as well as LinkedIn handles. The links to both are available in the description box below. Let's see what is the multiple choice question from previous discussion. Kigali Agreement is related to. Your options are ozone depletion, wildlife protection, climate change, or none of the above. If you know the answer, you can put it down in the comment section below. This is the descriptive question for the day. How are judges appointed in India? Do we follow collegium system or the NJAC, which is the National Judicial Appointments Commission? So let's start our first article, which talks about the judicial appointments. So for the first time ever, the Supreme Court Collegium, led by the Chief Justice of India, has selected as many as 9 persons at one go to be appointed to Supreme Court. Now, as we know that the vacancies at the Supreme Court has been a real problem in the recent times, but this has happened for the first time that the collegium system, which is led by the CJI, has selected as many as 9 persons to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Now, let's understand that why the appointment to the Supreme Court is actually a difficult task. Basically, the members of the collegium are all senior-most judges with keen intellect and long years of experience at the bench, and they definitely have admirable ability to discern merit in individuals. And that is why it becomes a very difficult task for the CJI to build consensus among them, due to which what happens is that it becomes difficult for all of them to come at one consensus and recommend one person to be appointed to the Supreme Court. And this time, that is why it has come as a surprise that 9 persons have been selected to be appointed to the Supreme Court. So in the case law of Supreme Court Advocates on Record Association and Another versus Union of India in 1993, it was held that the consideration of merit should be done without giving room for any criticism that the selection was whimsical, fanciful, or arbitrary or tainted with any prejudice or bias. And that is why completely unbiased system of selection should be taken when we are talking about moving people to be appointed to the Supreme Court. Also, there is a big question and a challenge that comes through the diversity that we have in India. So keeping in mind the language, region, religion, community, caste, etc., they cannot really be ignored while identifying the people to Supreme Court, because it then becomes important for us to make sure that people from different sects of the society, different regions, religions, community, etc., are given equal representation, and that equal participation of the outstanding meritorious candidates from all the sections of the society and not only just selective groups should be made to the Supreme Court. And thus, recently also, the selected 9 judges belong to 9 different states of the country, and that is why it stands out to be one of its kind, incident that 9 people have been selected, and that too they belong to the different states. So here we need, a transparency in this direction, as India is the only country where judges select judges to higher judiciary, and thus it is necessary for the norms of the selection of transparency. So it should be made sure that nothing and no other kind of bias or arbitrariness, makes way over here, and that complete transparency is maintained in the appointment of the judge. In 2019, a 5-judge bench observed that there can be no denial that there is a vital element of public interest in knowing about the norms taken into consideration in selecting the candidates. And that is why the judicial appointments should be very much unbiased and should be completely transparent as well. Now, we also should discuss about the NJAC versus the collegium system, that what is the collegium system and what's the NJAC. Please go through it in detail and let us know if you have any doubt about it. So let's discuss the second article, which talks about the subordinate courts. So recently, the Himachal Pradesh High Court resolved that hereinafter all the courts in the state, other than the High Court, shall be referred to as district judiciary, and these courts shall not be referred to as the subordinate court, but as the trial courts. Now, this is a big thing coming from the Himachal Pradesh High Court, wherein it says that the subordinate court would now no more be referred to as the same name. Rather, they would be called as the district judiciary and only as the trial courts. Let's understand that what is the significance of this order. The colonial idea of subordination stands replaced by the constitutional idea of independence of judiciary. Now, obviously, when we talk about the Constitution of India, which provides that independent judiciary is sine qua non, which means that it is undeniable, which means it is very much essential, and thus we follow and propagate the idea of independent judiciary. Now, in this regard, we need to understand that the subordination or having terms such as subordinate or subordinate courts is definitely not in lines with having the independent judiciary. And that is why Article 235 of the Indian Constitution speaks of the district judge and that the courts subordinate thereto. And that is why the Himachal Pradesh High Court decreed that there are no such entities as courts subordinate. Rather, there would be nothing as subordinate, only we would have some called as the trial courts. So it says that as the constitutional beings, judges are supreme within their own jurisdiction, and the supervisory power of the high courts is subject to the right of appeal as granted under Article 235, and thus the standards of evaluation in matters of promotion and posting have to be uniformly applied, which was also said by Justice S.H. Kapadia. And that is why subordination rather is a negative term, and rather we should use the term trial courts instead. So the article also provides for a few steps that are needed in this direction. Complete recasting of Article 235, doing away the expression of control powers in high courts. They say that they may exercise supervision under detailed performance norms, and for most of the matters, the senior most district judge and the judges of the judicial courts should constitute a collegiate system to facilitate judicial administration, infrastructure, access, monitoring of disposal rates, undue delays, matters of transfers, leaves, etc. Especially, they require the high courts to satisfy the criteria flowing principles of natural and constitutional justice, and all judicial officers who fulfill due qualifications and threshold should be treated with constitutional dignity and respect. And that is why we should be using more positive term, which is of the trial court, and rather put down the use of subordinate court, which rather gives an idea of the colonial idea of subordination. So let's discuss the final article for the day, which talks about the punishment for disorder in the parliament. So what would be the punishment if any member of the parliament causes any kind of disorder in the house? The chairman of the Rajya Sabha is reportedly contemplating action against the MPs who were involved in disorderly conduct. Let's see that the Rajya Sabha Secretariat has prepared a report accusing some MPs for assaulting the security personnel. Let's understand that what are the powers to conduct the proceedings smoothly. So here are the house rules that vest in the chairman all the power that is necessary for punishing any person or any member of parliament who causes any kind of disorder in the parliament. So first is the suspension of MPs who disregard the authority of the chair or abuse the rules of the council by persistently, that is by continuously or willfully obstructing the business of the house, so that we should know that they can be suspended as the members of the parliament. So here the suspension, the remainder of the session cannot, what happens if they're suspended? So for the remainder of the session, they cannot enter the chamber or attend any meetings of the committees, cannot give any notice for discussion or submission, and also they lose their right to get replies to their questions. Also, the power of suspension is vested in the House and not in the chairman. Now, this is an important thing, that the power of suspension is not solely on the chairman, but rather it's on the entire House. And the chairman names such members whereupon a motion is moved by the Parliamentary Affairs Minister, and if this motion is passed by the entire House, then that MP stands suspended. Also, a person can be expelled from being a member of the Parliament. Now, in this case, a special committee is appointed when misconduct is so serious that the House considers expelling. In the year 1951, a special committee was appointed to investigate the conduct of H.G. Mudgal, who was a member of the Parliament who accepted financial benefits from businesses' house to canvass support from them in government and houses, and the committee found him guilty and he was actually expelled. So this is a very important case and incident which can definitely be quoted if at all a question comes in this regard. In the year 2005, a special committee was again appointed to inquire into the issue of MPs accepting money for raising questions in the Parliament. And at this occasion as well, 10 MPs were expelled after a sting operation was done. So that is why in a grave situation also, expulsion of the members can also be considered. So this was all for the day. We hope it was a good session for you all. Do not forget to catch the podcast of this session on Spotify, Google, Anchor, as well as Apple Podcasts. Also, if you wish to download the PDF of today's slides or you want to avail other study material, do participate on our Telegram channel, the link to which is available in the description box below. Or you can simply scan the QR code which is there on your screens right now. Also, for other crisp and amazing content, do not forget to follow us on our official Instagram channels for Law Seeker Judiciary, CLAT Prep, as well as UGC Net if you're preparing for any of these exams. Thank you so much.